Hey guys, what's up? Kyle Hunt Fitness. Back in the new barbell boss shirt they sent me. Anyway, got a new whiteboard. Check this shit out. It's a new whiteboard. So I want to do a quick video to test it out. So I thought, what better than the top 5 nutrition mistakes that you are probably making. Number 1, not counting your macros. Coming from me, you guys probably expected me to have this number 1. However, I'm gonna present it in a little bit different way than some people do. Obviously, when you count your macros, it allows you to be flexible. But I'm gonna leave out the whole benefit of flexible dieting and all that, because you guys have already seen it, you've already heard it, you already read it. But the hidden message or the hidden benefit of tracking your macros is not even so you can eat whatever you want, and eat fun foods, or eat Pop-Tarts, or eat donuts, or eat whatever junk food you want. It's not that. It's so you can be accurate. You can eat complete bro, and you're still going to see a benefit from tracking your macros or counting your macros. And the real benefit comes in that consistency, because as you know, with training and nutrition, it's really about comes down to consistency. So by counting your macros, even if you eat chicken, rice, tilapia, asparagus, I don't give a shit what you're eating. If you are able to count your macros and consistently hit specific macronutrient targets, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, each day, it's easier to make adjustments. So when you hit a sticking point, you know how many carbs you've been eating, so you know where to go. You know how much fat you've been eating, how much protein you've been eating. You can make adjustments based on those numbers rather than just making adjustments based on food, which is not as accurate. Number 2, eating too much or too little protein. Now let me explain this. Too much protein is probably coming from people who think more protein is better, or somehow that when they're on a fat loss diet that excessive calories from protein are somehow different than excessive calories from carbs and fat. However, there is some research, there's newer research that's showing that protein is different than carbohydrates and fat when in caloric excess. It could come down to the thermic effect of eating protein. It's a little bit higher when you're eating a higher protein diet. It takes more calories to digest it, absorb it. But that's a very small aspect of it. So say if you're eating 50 grams of protein over what would be considered optimal, that's just 50 grams of protein that could be coming from carbohydrates, could be coming from fat. I wrote a really good article on protein intake for athletes. Check it out. It's on the website, KyleHuntFitness.com. Just go to the search bar, protein intake, it'll come right up. So eating too much is mostly from athletes, mostly bodybuilders that feel like you can't eat too much protein, and you can. And there is a limit to how much is going to be optimal. You can eat too much and it's not going to affect your liver or kidneys or anything like that. It's taking away from how much carbs and fat you're eating. Now, the too little protein is on the other end of the spectrum. It's your average person, not your athlete, who just is not getting enough protein. So what protein would I recommend? Anywhere between 0.8 grams to 0.12 grams per pound of body weight. Next, number 3, going low carb or low fat. Now, this one is not necessarily talking to the competitive athlete out there, like the physique athlete, someone who's competing in bodybuilding, because generally, at some point in your prep, you're probably going to need to go low carb and low fat. It's going to happen to get to extreme levels of body fat. I'm talking to the average person who's just trying to lean up, who immediately goes really low carbs or immediately goes really low fat. Now, the reason that happens, or the reason why people have a tendency to do that, is because it's really easy to completely cut out one macronutrient and get yourself in an easy deficit. I mean, when you go low carb and only eat protein and fat sources, you pretty much are already at a deficit. Or if you just do the complete opposite and just do protein and carb sources, normally if you're eating a traditional bodybuilding diet of chicken and rice, you're going to be basically eating protein and carbs with a really low fat. Since fat is very macronutriently dense in calories, so to speak, that you're going to get a caloric deficit pretty easy that way. However, that's not the only way to lose fat, is going low carb or low fat. And the balanced approach with a small deficit is the best way to go. Number 4, having cheat meals. Another topic I wrote about. And this is not referring to refeeds, structured refeeds in a caloric deficit while you're dieting, having a refeed. I think it's very beneficial. I have a lot of my clients do that. This is talking about, you guys have gone and read my article at KyleHuntFitness.com, again, just refeeds, or cheat meals rather. What I'm talking about here is people who eat clean all week. And these are typically the people that are very high on themselves for eating clean. And then on the weekends, completely go nuts and ravenous and just eat a shitload of calories in one meal, which completely throws them off their diet. They eat 10,000 calories in one sitting. And yes, your body has unlimited ability to store body fat, so if you eat that much in a caloric excess, it is going to affect your training. It is going to affect your diet. It is going to affect your fat loss or whatever your goals are at the moment. So, cheat meals it leads to an eating disorder for most people. So that's why I don't like it. Number 5, the big one. Labeling foods as clean or dirty. I've talked about, this is another topic that I've talked about in detail. But basically what I'm saying here goes back to point number 1. Track your macros. Think of foods as their macronutrient profiles, not of whether they're a clean food or other or a dirty food, because there is really no definition of clean or dirty. It comes down to a chicken breast is a protein source, and Pop-Tart is a carb source that also has a little bit of fat. So don't think of foods as clean and dirty. Think of them their macronutrient ratios and profiles. So that's the top 5 nutrition mistakes. Hopefully you guys aren't making them. Until next time. Peace.
She was bumping the...
Yeah. Was she?
Yeah.